So I really feel like this week's teaching of Tehila's interpretation of Yaakov and running away is a perfect sort of filling in the full circle of my teaching last week of Yaakov's transformation into Israel. And, there's one part where the angel says, what is your name? And the angel knows his name. The angel is sent by God, like, go to Jacob. And then Yaakov has to sort of come to grips with who he is, what his name is. And Hagid Hanashmecha, and the Gid Hanasheh, the sciatic nerve, Hagid Hanasheh, it's almost the same words. And the Gid Hanasheh, like Tehila said, goes all the way down to the Ekev, down to the heel. And then Yaakov has to come to grips with that. And he says, no, from now on, you are going to be Israel. And then the very next story, Jacob meets Esav, excuse me. And the encounter there is pretty embarrassing. It's pretty bad. It's not pretty. And Jacob is the only one of the people in the Bible that gets a new name, and then he's not always called by that name. Abraham was called Avram, and then as soon as he got his name Avraham, he's always called Avraham. Sarai was called Sarah. From that moment on, always Sarah. Yehoshua got a new name before he goes into the land of Israel. And from that point on, it's the book of Yehoshua. Even after the Torah, he continues to go by his new name. Yaakov is called Israel, and then sometimes he just continues being Jacob. And the message there is that, listen, inside every Israelite is a Jacob and is an Israel. And sometimes you can act like Jacob, and sometimes you can act like Israel. And Jacob himself sometimes is manifesting Israel, and sometimes he's manifesting Jacob. Somehow the other patriarchs and prophets of Israel, when they got their new name, they just manifested that new identity. And Jacob struggles. And that is a blueprint that all of us are going to struggle. And inside every Israelite, inside all of Israel, there's going to be some times where we manifest Jacob and sometimes that we manifest Israel. And as soon as Jacob finally gets this name, to struggle with God, to be straight with God, to face your problem straight on, don't turn around, don't go around it, go straight on. Jacob, his response in the end of the last conversation with Esav is just too insane to not notice. And this is what happens. Here's what he says. He gives Esav all of those presents. And then Esav says to him, listen, Jacob says to him, I beg of you, I have now found favor in your eyes, then accept this tribute for me, inasmuch as I have seen your face, which is like seeing the face of God. And you were appeased by me. Please accept my gift, which I have brought to you, inasmuch as God has been gracious to me, and inasmuch I have everything. He urged him, and he accepted. And that's beautiful. Jacob forces these gifts onto Esav. In some ways, he was recognizing, perhaps I took something that really didn't belong to me. I really want to fix this thing that I've done wrong, and I'm going to be straight now. And then Esav is so happy. And Esav says, travel on and let us go, and I will proceed alongside you. We're going to walk hand in hand together, Jacob and Esav, the brothers together. And then Jacob says to him something that is so troubling. Jacob says to him like this, my Lord knows that the children are very tender, and nursing the flocks and cattle are upon me. If they will be driven too hard for a single day, then all of my flocks will die. Let my Lord go ahead of his servant, and I will make my way at slow pace according to the gate of the drove before me and the gate of the children until I come to my Lord at Seir. You go back to Seir, and I'll catch up a little bit later. You go on, Esav. And Jacob lies. The next verse is he goes to Sukkot, he goes to Shem, and it's like, what? Jacob, you just had this whole encounter. You were given a new name, to be honest, to be straight. You're going to face it straight on. Esav is telling you, come with me. And you're like, okay, you go this way and I'll be there soon. And then he goes that way and lies to Esav. Like, how could he just get the name Israel? Goes for this whole transformational process. And then the first thing he does is he lies to Esav and goes the other way. It's like, what? How do we deal with that? And so the sages of Israel say, wait. Something else is going on here. And as Jacob prostrates himself before Esav over and over again, the sages of Israel are like, that is not good. Every time Jacob prostrates himself, his descendants will suffer manyfold for that embarrassment. He's embarrassing himself. The children of Israel, they're going to be embarrassed even more. And all of a sudden, the sages of Israel take this entire encounter and they see it in prophecy. And they say that this whole situation with Esav, until now, we've talking about our own personal growth with God. And that's what the direction that Tehila spoke. But I want to talk about something a little bit deeper here. That Esav, in the writings of Chazal, in the writings of the sages of Israel, represents Western civilization, represents the Catholic Church, represents Christianity. And we were talking all over Shabbat. What should the Jewish response be to the Christian world? And here we see something interesting. Jacob is not referred to as Israel as he's approaching Esav. He's constantly referred to as Jacob, and he's prostrating himself. And God says, no, that is not the way. And here, Jacob says, go on into the future. One day, we're going to catch up. One day, I'm going to meet you around the bend. But right now, we're separating. And the sages of Israel say that's a prophetic message that Jacob is giving Esav. One day, we're going to come back together. One day, there's going to be a new unity that's born. But right now, Jacob realizes, I'm Jacob. I can't do it right now. I'm not ready yet. I'm still struggling with Jacob and Israel. I'm not yet fully Israel yet. You go ahead, and one day, way in the future, I'm going to catch up and we'll walk alongside each other. And that message for us is there is so many different movements, organizations, things that are happening now between Jews and Christians. And a lot of them, they really bother me. I feel like the Jewish people are not doing it right. So I see so many different ads of people saying, Christians, please support Holocaust survivors. There's poor people in Israel, and there's children that need support. That approach to the nations of the world is Jacob bowing down to Esav. That's not Israel, that's Jacob. And that is not the right way to approach the nations of the world, and definitely not people that are connected to Isaac, connected to Abraham, connected to God. You have to be Israel when you reach out to the nations. And what does that mean? That means 10 men among the nations will grab hold of the corner of a garment of a Judean man and say, take us with you, for we have heard that God is with you. When the Jewish people rise up to be leaders and say, come with us, we're going to lead the way, not as Jacob, but as Israel, that's when you can be a sanctification of God's name in the world. Rev Cook, the first chief rabbi of Israel, and this is used often very much against my work with Ari, says, do not participate anything with Christians. Don't take Christian money. Don't take Christian tzedakah. It is a chilul Hashem. It's a desecration of God's name. And even if they're coming and they're saying, I want to support you, I want to help you, I want to give you charity, do not accept it. It's wrong. But you have to know, when was Rabbi Cook saying this? Rav Cook died before the Holocaust and lived as anti-Semitism was rising and rising and rising. And he's saying at this stage in Jewish history, do not reach out to the nations asking them for charity. You're desecrating God's name. And so too, nothing has changed if the Jewish reaching out to the nations is from a place of weakness, from a place of neediness. What? We can't take care of our own Holocaust survivors? What message are we radiating to the nations of the world? But on the other hand, there is a desperate need now, a critical need now for the Torah to go forth from Zion, for the Jewish people to be leaders in morality, teachers of Torah, to be examples of what it is to live by the Torah in a modern world. The nations need us now, but not as Jacob. They need us as Israel. And if the Jewish people would rise up and say, Esav, we're brothers. It's time for us to come back together now. But this time, not as us bowing down, but not only even as equals, but as leaders, then anti-Semitism would disappear. I find all these people on social media, stop Jew hatred, as if posting the words stop Jew hatred is going to stop Jew hatred. What does that even mean? The way to stop Jew hatred is for the Jews, the children of Jacob, to become the children of Israel. And when we rise up and we are strong and we're leaders and we come and say, join us, come with us to the land of Israel. Come with us and learn the ways of God. That is the final vision that Jacob says, one day we're going to come back. I'm going to meet you around the Ben Esav. So he wasn't lying to Esav. He was just speaking, not now, but in the generations to come. And so may this fellowship be an example of the way the Jewish people should be in the world, reaching out in love and compassion, but from a place of strength, from a place of love, leadership, and Torah. And may that be an example for the world. And may that bring the brothers of Abraham under the covenant of Abraham together for a brotherhood of God under the fatherhood, a brotherhood of man under the fatherhood of God. That's the line. All right, my friends, Shavua Tov.